Hey, and welcome back to Old Stuff is Better. So today we're going to be talking about a 46 Willys Jeep. And the reason why we're going to be doing that is because so many people buy a restored, quote, vehicle. And it looks nice. In fact, we'll show it to you here. You've seen it in previous videos. You know, it's all nice and shiny and restored and everything like that. This thing was a disaster from one end to the other. It was a complete disaster. So I got my dad here, the shop owner, and he is going to be talking about the uh, well, it's not a path, it's the horror trail that we've been through with this thing. So anyway, with that, we'll just go ahead and start.
Hi there, Ian, the boss here, and working on this 46 CJ2A. Looked like it was going to be a dream. We got it in, and beautiful. The body work is beautiful on it, but mechanically, if there was anything could be wrong, it was. We had to replace the head gasket to start with, and the carburetor was totally wrong fuel system, so we had to replace the carburetor and get all that fixed. Got him all running properly after several clutch repairs and so on, clutch linkage repairs, and got him down the road. And what, a couple of months later, it came.
Yeah, there was a lot that we had to do. The carburetor, the original carburetor, was junk. It had some Weber thing on there.
Yeah, had to completely change the carburetor.
So then we get an eBay thing, and you had, I don't know, at least a week into that thing trying to make that work right, and finally got it to running right. And then we discovered that the head gasket was leaking.
Yeah.
You did a head gasket on it, and then all of a sudden it was a factory style head gasket. The what was it?
The head bolts all leaked up through the block.
Yeah, so. Well, the head bolts were leaking up through the block, and they were, antifreeze was coming up through the threads on the nuts. So we ended up having to use chrome. We got the engine over there. It's already outside. We ended up having to use chrome cap nuts like they use on a flathead Ford V8.
With copper washers.
With copper washers under them. Got that done. Got it running pretty good. And I don't remember. Oh, we added a Saturn. Or Warren, Saturn, whatever it is.
Warren overdrive.
Yeah, from the overdrive there, and got that in and everything. And we thought everything was fine. And then what happened?
About 2 months later, came back on the hook again. Engine locked up, wouldn't turn. So we got into the engine, pulled the pan off, checked all the bearings, crankshaft checked out, and came to the conclusion it had to be the camshaft seized in the block, which ruined the engine. So we
and along that we actually checked the rods. The rods would go back and forth. The crank would rock back and forth a little bit, and it would go forward and back. But the camshaft was just solid, so we don't know what happened there. And it was rebuilt, which was the real bummer.
Yeah, it was a rebuilt engine. It was a shame, but finally found an engine in Washington, an F-head engine. This is a flathead originally. We found an F-head engine. The owner bought the engine, had it shipped here. Now the F-head engine is designed for a 3B, a CJ3B with a higher hood. So we had to modify all the engine suspension. Had to drop the transmission. We changed the transmission also, by the way, but we had to drop the engine and the transmission down an inch.
Well, that was another thing too. Was the original transmission would jump out of second gear, and they're known for that. But why did we find out that that was another can of worms? Why was it jumping out of gear?
Turned out with the original clutch and the original engine, the reason it was jumping out of second gear, because once we got it apart, there was no pilot bearing.
Yeah, no pilot bearing at all
in crankshaft. So that was causing it to jump out of second gear. We got the engine lowered, engine and transmission assembly lowered into the Jeep, and we were able to get it down lower, put a Ford single barrel carburetor on there to lower that down.
That's off of a 61 Falcon van.
Yeah,
before they were Econolines. Yeah, it was off of a 61 Falcon van with a 170. And so you can see that there. Had to actually dent the valve cover which we found this on
Yep.
forums online, and we got you can tell it's a van carburetor because it's got the vent here. We ran a tube over there because if it ever overflowed, it would go right onto the distributor. So we got a tube running down the side there. But anyway, yeah, that's what that carburetor's off of.
So we got the engine finally mounted in there, and the transmission. I had to make adapters for the transmission cross member to lower the cross member down, to lower the whole unit down. And
yeah, so we got 1 inch drop, basically maybe a 1 1/4 inch drop. Dad had to make little side brackets there for the cross member. Really turned out very, very nice. And so, it actually, look at that drive shaft angle now. The drive shaft angle is about as flat as you can get. So before it was at quite an angle too. Oh, that was another thing. Tell them about the drive shaft.
Yeah, we got the drive shaft. The front universal joint was loose in the drive shaft. We thought maybe the yoke was bad, so we pulled the drive shaft out, sent it down to the driveline place, the repair shop, and they found it was the wrong U-joint. Somebody had installed a wrong U-joint in the front of the drive shaft and had timed it wrong also. So they retimed it, put a new U-joint in. That took care of the rear drive shaft. Then once we got the vehicle running, now this took about a month of modifications. We had to make special throttle linkage down there on the side of the engine. We had to make
grab the light over there.
Yeah, we had to make all special throttle linkage, adapting the throttle pedal.
Yeah, he worked on that little bell crank right there because you got the throttle rod coming out of the floor, and then he made that bell crank. Took him about 4 or 5 hours to make that whole thing. That's all handmade. Then that was a rod that was part of a clutch kit that we got because we needed to replace the whole Z-bar for the clutch. But that goes to another bell crank right there, which is factory, and then it comes up here to another factory bell crank, and then off to carburetor. And the cool thing is that rod right there is actually out of our '63 Falcon when it was a 6-cylinder too. We just bent it and shortened it, and so there's a lot of a little bit of Falcon here. So we got a Falcon van carburetor and a Falcon car throttle rod there. So tell them what you had to do with the motor mounts and everything.
We had to take the standard motor mounts out and lower. We ought to get that light again. We had to lower the engine down as far as we could get it to clear under the hood. So we had to make mounts. I had to use actually exhaust hanger rubber and re-drill the mounting and put rubber on both sides of the bolt there for shock, so it absorbs the vibration, and worked out well. Got the engine down an inch over an inch lower.
Yeah, so it clears the hood.
Barely fits under the hood. Everything.
Well, and the bonnet here for the carburetor actually does tighten up. There was kind of a V-shaped thing that the original Ford air cleaner would clamp onto, but there's enough of a snout, and that actually went right down there. And so then this was pointed off straight, so he had to cut this all the way around, bend this tube down, re-weld this all the way around, and then the original tube here that went to the metal tube that used to go across over here because the carburetor used to be over here. And so now that all works. Had to make the brake line, not brake line, the fuel line.
Lines.
Had to make all new fuel line and everything. So
and then once we got it running, it ran beautiful. We were able to make everything work really better than new, I think. But customer said, I think I have a noise in the front wheel. Well, turns out we had this was supposed to be a rebuilt Jeep. And one front wheel bearing was so bad, it was rusty. It had never been repaired. So I ended up repairing all the front wheel bearings and locking hubs, which didn't work.
Yeah, the locking hubs.
Cleaned those and repaired the locking hubs. So at this point right now, this Jeep works beautifully. Everything works. Test driving has more power and higher RPM engine than it had before. So we're very happy with the way it's all turned out, even though it has taken many hours to modify everything to get this in here.
Once you start it up, now you're going to hear you're going to hear a valve tick, and it does that until it's warmed up. It's an exhaust valve. We just chose not to do that because what you have to do is you have to pull the exhaust manifold off, pull that side cover off, and then adjusting the valve is a pain. So when it's warmed up, the valve clearance tightens up a little bit.
That carburetor sounds like it drains down.
Yeah, you can hear that thing just runs great. So you can go ahead and shut it off. So yeah, we're super happy with it. And of course, how do you build something like this? But it's so custom. But anyway, so yeah, that's just want to give you an example of when you go out and you buy a car and it is restored. It's probably not your 56 Ford. Dad has a 56 Ford four-door Victoria hardtop.
Yes, yeah.
And when he got, and it was supposedly driven to Texas and back, and it was wonderful, and it was a restored car and everything, and it was a disaster from what I remember. It had a shit. What kind of a carburetor did it have on it?
It had a later '60s two-barrel Ford adapter carburetor adapted to the engine, which was supposed to be an original 56 carburetor. So we pulled that whole mess off, replaced the intake manifold on that, found the proper carburetor. James rebuilt the carburetor and all, and that took care of that. But what I found with that 56 Ford was like this. The car looked beautiful, but whoever did the body work had no idea how to repair the mechanical part of it.
Yeah.
That was the problem with this Jeep. That was the problem with the Ford 56 Ford that I have, is I had to pretty much go through the whole drivetrain on the 56 Ford. Had to replace all the brakes, modify and repair all of the transmission gear shift to make it work properly. It was a mess, but we got it all straightened out. I love the 56. Turned out to be great, but I had to redo the whole drivetrain to make it work properly.
Yep. Well, so this is just kind of just wanted to show you guys this, and we'll go ahead and close out the video now. But this is what happens when you buy a restored Jeep and you don't have it checked out. Okay, well, that closes out this video for what happens when you buy a restored car. And so we're just like as before, please like and subscribe, please comment, and I hope you enjoyed this video.